What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hambone Fishing. Today we're looking at the Carolina Clash QCKBF event number 5 on the tournament trail. Got our choice, angler choice. Could pick either Lake Norman, Mountain Island Lake, or Lake Wiley. Lake Wiley was definitely the answer for me. I'd been fishing that lake for a couple weeks pretty regularly, and I was just getting good results. Post spawn pattern, fish were shallow. We had a big storm come in a couple days before the tournament, and I was worried that it was going to change some things. It definitely muddied up the water quite a bit. There was a huge, we must have gotten more rain than I thought we did overnight because it was muddy. It was pretty bad. The area that I wanted to fish was in the back of a creek, and I'd done some driving around the day before, and every river around us was blown out. But I got on the water tournament day. Temperature was still fine. Water clarity was pretty all right with the big creek that I wanted to fish. There's a big creek that I wanted to fish that's off the main lake. I was pretty sure that they'd be there. There's a lot of docks. There's a lot of shaded areas that I wanted to fish, and they were there. A lot of them were there. Unfortunately, a lot of them were in the 14-inch range. But what I was catching them on was this, just a wacky rig. This is the BizBaits Sassy Stick Wacky Rigged. The hook, which is a new hook that I've just recently started using, is the Hayabusa the Wacky Worm Hook. It's the 962 2-aught worm hook, and they're pretty inexpensive. I tend to use this on a beefier setup. I'm using this is 12-pound fluorocarbon leader. I've got 30-pound Power Pro braid, the Denali Covert LT medium heavy fast action 7.2 rod with a 2500 Shimano Sedona reel, and that's my go-to setup for this technique. I don't lose a lot of fish. I've used spongier rods in the past, and I've lost big fish on them, so I tend to go with a bigger setup when I'm fishing this technique. A lot of the times you can horse some of these fish out from under docks and that kind of stuff, and I don't seem to miss as many fish that way. That's kind of the setup I went with. The water, like I said, the water was a little brownish, still in the 65-degree range in the morning. I got into them real quick. I tried to topwater bite real fast and didn't bother with it after that. So check it out. And a half. Another 13 and a half. Ooh, hands are cold. There's one. That's one. A little bit better. $15-incher. So a little bit better. All right. 14 incher. All right, so as you saw, I had a small limit early, like 13 and a half, 14 inchers, but it was a quick limit and I knew I had to call up. You know, I was almost hesitant on actually even submitting that to Tourney X because I knew that I was gonna have to get a lot more bites, a lot bigger bites than that because of how the tournament was gonna fish. I figured a lot of people would have your 14-inch fish, a limit of 14 to 15-inch fish, so I knew I needed to cull, and I had to start culling up all day long. And I mean, I caught a lot of fish. Incher. Not gonna help. That's a good one. It's a catfish. It's a goddamn catfish. God dang it. There we go, guys. It's a better one. 17 and a half. All right, so I finally got that 17, that good bite. I got a 17 and a half inch fish, and that fish lasted me all day. You know, I got that fish in the early part of the day and was never able to really cull that one out, which, you know, was fine. I mean, a 17 and a half inch fish on Lake Wiley is pretty good, especially this time of year when there's going to be a lot of fish caught. I just knew I had to keep grinding. I knew the fish were there. I pretty much had them figured out. I mean, it's really not much. I mean, you could call it a pattern, but I was fishing under docks and in shaded areas with a wacky rig. It doesn't get much more simple than that this time of year. Let's keep it rolling. All right, couldn't squeeze 15 and a quarter out of him. I'm gonna go with 15. Oh my God. So I caught a couple more fish, as you could see, and I had hit the first two kind of offshoots or pockets on the big creek that I was fishing. And as I kept moving down that creek, it just got muddier and muddier. I told you about that storm that came through a couple days before, and it just really, there was a lot of debris in the water. The water was really muddy and murky. The visibility went way down the farther I got back. So I kind of made the decision to cross over to the other side of the big creek and fish out towards the mouth of the creek, because that's where the productive water was. And even if I was refishing the same water that somebody had already fished, it was definitely a better opportunity than continuing to go back farther into that creek where I knew I probably wasn't going to get bit. So that's what I did, and it paid off. Oh, come on. Not gonna help. Are you serious? Absolute tank of crappie. Doesn't help. Another short. Yes, sir. All right, that one was 17. He was hooked pretty bad in the gill, so I'm gonna get him back. Finally, a legitimate cull, not just these 1/4-inch culls where I'm battling between a 14 and a 14 3/4, or a 14 3/4 and a 15, or something like that. Finally, a legitimate 2-inch cull got rid of a 13 or something like that. I caught so many fish that I just kind of lost track of what my small was and that kind of thing. So finally another legitimate 17-inch fish, and at this point in the day I'd hook a fish and I'd just be like, please don't be small, please don't be small, please don't be small. And all day it was pretty much 14-incher after 14-incher after 14-inch. So that 17-incher kind of reinvigorated me, kind of kept me going and everything. So all you can do is just try to keep catching fish, and hopefully you find that right bite, which is what I did. This one's gonna help. Doesn't help. Oh, that's a good fish. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So at this point, like I had said earlier, I had to go out and refish water. And so I went back to a creek that I fished in the morning, a little pocket off of the main creek, and I fished an area. It was kind of a big flat, really, the kind of a sloping, real slow sloping bank. And say that 5 times fast. Like I said, I was just fishing docks all day long. Just hit every dock that you can and see if there's a fish under it. And that one was a 16 3/4. That was awesome. Another good cull. I think that culled up about another 1.5 inches. So those fish late in the day will really help keep you motivated to fish the entire time, because I was catching fish, but they were all just small. So just keep it going. Again, I was just continuing to fish water that I already fished earlier that day, and just keep catching fish. Progress.
Better off than what I'm doing.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
It's under your hand, guys.
That actually might help me. Get out of there. Well, guys, As crazy as that day was and as many small fish as I caught, I did enough to finish in 10th place out of 102 anglers. Cashed a small check, which when I got off the water, kind of when I was done, I was a little disappointed that I didn't get that last big fish or that last decent bite. I finished with a 15 1/4, a 16 3/4, a 17 1/2, and a 17. So not a terrible day, just kind of attests to keeping going, fishing all day long, especially this time of year. You just never know what bite you're gonna get at 2 o'clock in the afternoon under a dock, in a shaded area. You know, I've seen guys be throwing a jig all day long, and all of a sudden they just flip it under the right tree and there's a 22-inch fish under there. And you just never know. You just have to keep fishing in these tournaments and fish the right water. If it doesn't look good, don't fish it. You know, find another area. Go, be on the move quick. But if you're gonna fish an area, fish it thoroughly, especially this time of year. You know, some of those docks that I fished under, I would make the same skip 2-3 times and get bit on the second or third time, because those fish they're used to that commotion. They are under those docks in shade, and all you have to do is just annoy them enough, get that reaction bite, or in this case, you know, the finesse bite, just so that you're annoying them and it's just putting it in front of their face and they just can't resist it that long. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed the video today. My pedal back was outrageous. I had to go about 3 miles in May on a really nice day on a popular lake at 3 o'clock in the afternoon across the main channel. Was not a calm, smooth ride. So, but again, 10th place, that keeps me in the top 10 in AOI, still kind of within striking distance. I need a top 5 finish if I'm gonna make a run at it. Give this video a like, share it with a friend, drop me a comment down below. You know, let me know if you had any luck doing anything different, or kind of what your favorite technique is this time of year. I got a good one for you next week. I think you're really gonna like the video I have next week. I caught a monster bag. I wouldn't call it a monster bag. Probably one of the better days that I've had out on the water. So hit that subscribe button for me. Stay tuned for all the great content that I have coming for you. Again, this is Graham with Hambone Fishing. Take it easy.
Oh boy. Hey boy. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. Downs, ups and downs.